AFCON might genuinely be the best international tournament out there because the group stages this year have been nothing but exciting, unpredictable, and overall just wild. So what exactly happened at this year's AFCON Group Stages? Well, let's take a look. Let's start off with Group A, where we got Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. Now, as we all know, Ivory Coast are the hosts of the tournament, and this is how their security is operating. Yeah, we're gonna stop right there. This security guard might have been taking his job a little too seriously, if you know what I mean. Back to the football though, Ivory Coast did the job against Guinea-Bissau in the opening match, beating them 2-0 as everybody expected. What was unexpected is in the next group stage game between Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea. Now, Equatorial Guinea aren't pushovers whatsoever. In the last AFCON back in 2021, they actually made it all the way to the quarterfinals, with them finishing second in their group and beating Mali in the round of 16. But this is Nigeria that they're facing, man. They have a golden age of footballers right now, in my opinion, with them having the likes of Calvin Bassey, Wilfred Ndidi, Alex Iwobi, Iheanacho, Lookman, Chukwueze, and of course the man himself, Amin Musa, is still somehow in the Nigerian squad. Oh yeah, Victor Osimhen is there too. So as many thought, Nigeria should be breezing past this group and finishing on top, but instead, Equatorial Guinea held them to a 1-1 draw. Yeah, this is just the start of AFCON's unpredictability. Moving over to match day 2, even though Ivory Coast got some great players in the team, like Sebastien Haller, Nicolas Pepe, Franck Kessie, Seko Fofana, Ibrahim Sangare, etc., they weren't any match for Nigeria and lost 1-0. I feel like this is what most people expected. Same with the Equatorial Guinea versus Guinea-Bissau game, the Battle of the Guineas, and the Equatorial one won 4-2. With Emilio Nsue, a 34-year-old right back playing for CF Intercity in the 3rd division of Spain, bagged a hat-trick in the game, becoming the first AFCON hat-trick scorer in the competition since 2008. Besides Emilio Nsue, I think these games are typical results that we all expected. But match day 3, yeah, this is when things started to get really crazy in Group A. Now yes, Nigeria probably should be doing better with all their star players that they got, but they got 3 points against Guinea-Bissau, beating them 1-0 and sending them through to the knockout rounds. So although they haven't been the most impressive, they're still getting the job done. But Ivory Coast, oh boy, they were a mess. Against Equatorial Guinea, you would expect the host nation, who are definitely stronger on paper, to get the win here. But it was the total opposite, because instead, Ivory Coast got absolutely cream pied 4-0 by Equatorial Guinea, and guess what? The right back Emilio Nsue got himself 2 more goals, with him now having a total of 5 goals at AFCON. With the Group A games finally all done, the table has been completely flipped on its head, with Guinea-Bissau, as expected, finishing dead last, but Ivory Coast, the host, finishing in 3rd, Nigeria in 2nd, and Equatorial Guinea in 1st place. Yeah, this is completely shocking. I never expected this. I knew AFCON was unpredictable, but this is wild. Regardless though, you might be thinking that Ivory Coast is out, since they're 3rd place with only 3 points and a -3 goal difference. But thanks to Morocco, which I'll get to if you stay tuned for the rest of the video, Ivory Coast have somehow made it through to the knockout rounds, and this is how they celebrated it. Yeah, shout out to Morocco, man. But making it to the round 16 for the Ivory Coast was seemingly so impossible that they even fired their coach Jean-Louis Gasset after they lost to Equatorial Guinea 4-0, thinking that they were going out. But Ivory Coast are still in, and at the time of me recording this, they only got a couple of days before their round of 16 match against Senegal. So what are Ivory Coast gonna do? Well, they're trying to sign Hervé Renard on loan from the French women's team.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Signing a manager on loan? Nah, bro. I ain't never seen this before. And I don't think I'm gonna ever see anything like this again. AFCON, man. The gift that keeps on giving. Moving on to Group B, we got Egypt, Ghana, Cabo Verde, and Mozambique. Now, if you thought Group A was crazy, Group B is about to get even crazier. First match day, we had Egypt versus Mozambique, and it was going as we all expected. Egypt gained the lead early on, and they kept this 1-0 lead all the way until the second half. That's when Mozambique, out of nowhere, flipped the game on its head, with Witi scoring in the 55th minute to equalize the game, and then Clesio Bach scoring in the 58th minute to give Mozambique a very unexpected lead. Yeah, Egypt, the 7-time AFCON winners and the ones who made the final last time in 2021, were losing to Mozambique in their first match. But right when Mozambique were about to make history, they gave up a silly penalty in the dying moments, and of course, Mo Salah scored it. But a 2-2 draw, that's still a pretty historic result for Mozambique in my opinion. And if y'all thought that was wild, Cabo Verde versus Ghana gets even wilder, because Cabo Verde unexpectedly beat Ghana 2-1 thanks to a last-minute goal by Gary Rodriguez. Yeah, Ghana lost to Cabo Verde. What the hell is going on? The second match day gets pretty wild too. With Egypt versus Ghana happening, the streets were tuning in into this game, and it didn't disappoint, because Mohamed Kudus initially put Ghana on his back and scored first, but then Omar Marmoush scored in the 69th minute. 2 minutes later though, Kudus scored again, but 3 minutes after, Egypt get one back and the game ends 2-2. Here's the big issue for this game though. Mohamed Salah gets injured and is deemed unavailable for the rest of Egypt's AFCON campaign unless they make it to the final. Will they make it to the final though? Especially when they have players who are missing important games because they attempted a backflip in training. So yeah, I'm not so sure. Oh, also, Cabo Verde beat Mozambique 3-0. Cabo Verde was on smokes, bruv. I don't know why I just turned British right there, but moving on, let's go to match day 3. I won't be able to do this justice with everything that went on, but I'll try my best. So in the Cabo Verde versus Egypt game, late in the first half, Gilson Tavares scored to put Cabo Verde 1-0 up. But then early on in the second half, Trezeguet gets one back for Egypt, and it's game on for Egypt to get the winner. And Egypt almost did, because in the 93rd minute, Mustafa Mohamed brought down a beautiful ball and scored, bringing euphoria to the Egyptian fans for potentially bagging the winner and sending Egypt through to the knockout rounds. He even lifted a Mo Salah's shirt to show Egyptian players are standing with him through the abuse Salah was getting for being injured. So yeah, take that, you Salah haters. But turns out this wasn't the winner, because in the 90+ 9th minute, the Shera Jr. scores a brilliant goal and draws the game level 2-2. Egyptian players were devastated, with them thinking they were knocked out, but they weren't. Why? Because Ghana fumbled a bag hard. They had a 2-0 lead against Mozambique all the way until the 90th minute, but a penalty was given to Mozambique and they scored in the 91st minute. Then, in what was a completely avoidable situation with the ball heading out, the Ghana goalkeeper touches the ball and Mozambique gets a corner. And from that corner, in the 90+ 4th minute, Mozambique scores and draws the game level 2-2. This has to be one of the biggest sells I've ever seen in my life. I'm honestly amazed at what I saw. This means that Mozambique finishes last in the group, Ghana finishes 3rd in the group with only 2 points, knocking them out since they weren't one of the best 3rd place teams.
I'm out of words. I don't know what to say, man.
Egypt go through in 2nd, and Cabo Verde somehow gets 1st in the group. The first 2 groups in AFCON already have 2 unexpected group winners. This might be the most unpredictable tournament of all time. And want to know something even crazier? Ghana being knocked out of AFCON contributed to Barcelona being knocked out of the Copa del Rey. Hear me out. With Ghana being knocked out early, their striker Iñaki Williams flew home Wednesday morning to return for the Athletic Bilbao match against Barcelona in the Copa del Rey quarterfinals. Then, while the game was drawn 2-2 in extra time, Iñaki Williams came off the bench and scored in the 105th + 2nd minute. And this overall helped Athletic Bilbao knock Barcelona out of the Copa del Rey 4-2. Wow, this AFCON got a ton of wild stories, no cap. Moving on to Group C, it was rather normal compared to the first 2 groups. The group table ended how most people thought it would, with Gambia finishing last, Guinea finishing in 3rd, Cameroon finishing in 2nd, and Senegal of course topping the group. So what made this group wild? Well, honestly, it has everything to do with Onana and Cameroon. First and foremost, Onana is the biggest meme of the football season so far. Not only has this dude been consistently selling on Manchester United this season, but he still for some reason put them above Cameroon. In fact, he told the Cameroonian FA that he was going to be late to AFCON because he wanted to play against Tottenham in the Premier League, and they literally didn't even get the win in that game. Then, when Onana was making his way to the Ivory Coast for AFCON, his plane got delayed or something like that, and this meant that he didn't play in their opening game versus Guinea, where Cameroon drew to them 1-1. Onana finally gets a start in the second game for Cameroon, but it was against Senegal, the previous champions, and they got clapped with Onana in net. So that's when the Cameroon coach decided that he had enough of Onana. And they benched Onana for their 3rd game against Gambia, where actually Cameroon were heading out, but thanks to an 87th minute own goal by James Gomez and a last minute 91st goal by Christopher Woe, Cameroon got the 3-2 win. There was a slight scare though, with the Gambia right back, Sane, scoring a goal with his hand, and celebrated it like he just got Gambia all 3 points. Blood really thought he was Diego Maradona, but bro forgot that VAR existed, and the goal was called back, and Cameroon got the win to send them through to the knockouts. In summary though, this guy Onana is just a hilarious guy. Now Group D, we're back with the craziness, because this group that contained Algeria, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, and Angola was a roller coaster. In the first game between Algeria and Angola, Algeria went up 1-0 thanks to Bounedjah. I hope I pronounced that right. But then, a few minutes later and still in the first half, he scores a crazy bicycle kick. And this honestly would have been the goal of the tournament if it wasn't offsides and not given the goal. What a robbery of a beautiful moment, but it was the right call. And no, Algeria couldn't keep their lead and gave up a pen, and Angola scored to end the game as a 1-1 draw. This is not how Algeria wanted to start AFCON. To make matters worse for them, Burkina Faso, Algeria's main threat in the group supposedly, got a late penalty against Mauritania and buried it to secure them 3 points at the start of this tournament. That's not even the crazy part though, but it was how Mauritania announced the starting lineup, with a man named AK-47 in the starting 11. What is going on in AFCON, man? Like, what is this? AK-47? We in America or something? The next match day was pretty crazy too, because Burkina Faso got the lead over Algeria and was sure to send them out. But the clutch man again, Bounedjah, scored in the dying moments to secure 1 point for the Algerians. So at this point, you're probably wondering, is Riyad Mahrez not at the tournament? Because I haven't mentioned his name so far. And nah, he's there. Maybe just chilling, I guess. I don't really know what he's doing. Salah is literally injured, and he still had more of an impact than Mahrez at the tournament. That's crazy. The other game between Mauritania and Angola was a 5-goal thriller though, but Angola got the win that they desperately wanted and beat Mauritania 3-2. I speed ran through through that. But that's because the real wild stuff happens on match day 3. Angola ends up beating Burkina Faso, a pretty talented African team, 2-0, which means that they will end up topping the group. And Algeria still had hope of making it through to the knockout rounds against Mauritania. Instead though, Algeria got absolutely dominated by Mauritania, who were playing like prime 2010 Spain or something. And instead, Mauritania won the game 1-0. This was literally Mauritania's first ever win in AFCON history, and it was against Algeria, the champions of Africa back in 2019. Since Algeria became champions though, they've been on a downhill trend, I must say. They finished bottom of the group in the 2021 AFCON with only 1 point, then they missed the 2022 World Cup after being eliminated in the last minute against Cameroon, and now in the 2023 AFCON, they finished bottom of the group again with only 2 points this time. And yes, if you were wondering, Algeria fired their coach after this. It took them a minute, but they finally did what they were supposed to do a very long time ago. Oh, and also, everybody in Group D is going to be headed to the knockout rounds, except for Algeria. That's tough. Now let's move on to Group E, where we got the likes of Tunisia, South Africa, Mali, and Namibia. Off the bat, we're starting off with an upset, because Tunisia is one of, or should be, one of the best African countries in football. But immediately, in the first game, they lost to Namibia 1-0 thanks to an 88th minute goal from Kavenji. And this was literally Namibia's first ever win at AFCON. What is going on, bro? First Mauritania, and now Namibia? AFCON just never fails to surprise us. And no, Mali beat South Africa 2-0. But considering that Mali is slowly starting to become one of the most underrated African sides, while South Africa has been on a decline since that 2010 World Cup, safe to say that this kind of was expected. Match day 2 was kind of surprising. I mean, Tunisia and Mali drew 1-1, and with both of these teams being the favorites to top the group, a 1-1 draw isn't that surprising. But then when South Africa played Namibia, the team that Tunisia lost to, they slapped them silly 4-0. How does this even make sense, man? Wrap up this tournament, bro. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. That's it.
Match day 3 gets even wilder though, but not games wise, because both of the games ended up being a 0-0 draw. But now with all these results out of the way, here is how the final Group E standings look like. Mali is on top with 5 points, reasonable, but then South Africa is in second with 4 points, Namibia is in third with also 4 points, and Tunisia finishes bottom of the group with 2 points, and is out of AFCON. And to make matters worse, Namibia, who just got their first win at AFCON, are going through to the knockout rounds. Tunisia, bro, what happened?
What happened?
Moving on to Group F, which has Morocco, DR Congo, Zambia, and Tanzania in it. This was honestly the most normal group in AFCON this year. In fact, the order and how I introduced these countries was literally how the group ended, with Morocco in first, DR Congo in second, Zambia in third, and Tanzania in fourth. So honestly, this group in AFCON is the only one which was kinda normal. There are some things that are important to note though. Morocco beating Zambia on the last day meant that Ivory Coast are going through to the knockout rounds, while Zambia are going home. And sticking on the topic of Zambia, this one dude thought he was the Flash the way he kicked the ball super far and tried to run after it.
When you were me.
But besides that, this group pretty normal. But as the knockout stages are arriving, or have arrived by the time you watch this video, I'm sure this tournament is about to get even crazier. Anyways though, how are you guys enjoying AFCON this year? Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Also, please be sure to follow my Twitter and Instagram. The links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you want to learn more about how India miserably failed at this year's Asian Cup and how they can actually improve for the future, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.